Coming up on this episode,
What made this strange shaped dent in our bathroom door?
find out what Amy's security blanket is.
And avocado green kept us together. Hey, you're listening to Committed to Crazy with Jayce and Amy. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to my mommy and daddy show.
Come on, the kids are in bed. Let's have some fun.
What the hell, Daddy?
I think this is going to be our best episode yet.
I think it's going to be a train wreck.
Oh my god.
So we are at episode 7, part 3 of 3.
Breaking barriers.
Breaking barriers. It was Amy's idea, and I, for some reason, agreed to it.
You added to the list, too.
To make a list and humiliate ourselves for the world to listen to.
Yeah, I don't think it's barriers. I think it's a bunch of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Anyways, here we are.
Back for more embarrassment. So the list is getting short. We've covered a lot of stuff. A lot of it was based on poop incidents.
So gross.
And some of our sexual misadventures.
Again. Some of it's so gross.
But the list continues. Short as it might be, the list continues for part 3 of 3. So the next thing on our list, it started with a camping trip, but it really has nothing to do with camping. Early in our relationship, we were still struggling, and it wasn't a small struggle. It was whether or not we should be together struggle. So I got the stupid idea to have a camping trip, only we don't like to go anywhere. So our camping trip was a pop-up camper in the backyard. And then we left all the electronics in the house, and the only thing we really used the house for was the bathroom. And
God.
I mean, if you're going camping, if you can use your own
Well,
shitter,
it was just for me.
you're always going to be better
I
off.
watched you.
Yeah.
Thank-
Oh, God. But it was a good time. We had our daughter, but we hadn't had our son yet. So we had the daughter with us, and she had a good time until she got sick and barfed on the
she
table.
Got sick. I don't know. Well, wait.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with camping. Amy and I made up that weekend. I don't know what it was about the camper, but you know, the dim light of the fire from inside my sketchy my 1976 model pop-up camper really did it for her. And we
really didn't. This is in spite of the camper.
Yeah, the avocado green upholstery really lit up my eyes. So what happened was, after we made up, for some reason, Amy used my junk as a security blanket. Like, she held it and went to sleep that way.
I was asleep before I did that. I didn't even realize
But all night.
that I did that.
All night. All night held my junk.
I just want to love it.
Like it was a
Hug
security.
it, love it, and keep it forever.
Oh yeah, like nicknamed it and pet it. I don't know what the deal was. Anyway, it started the night of the camping, but it continued.
Yeah, I still do it. I woke up the other night and it's been years and years later.
Well, initially it went on for weeks. It was every night for weeks, and it has stopped since then. But it still happens every once in a while. So
You don't even realize it.
Yeah, most of the time I don't even realize it.
Luckily, you're not part of the Me Too movement. I'd be in trouble.
I mean, I wonder if other people out there have that. Does your wife hold your junk? While you're sleeping?
I woke up the other night and I was doing it, and I was like, oh, okay. I rolled over. I was like,
Is there a name
hope
for
I
it?
didn't offend you.
Psychologist, is there a name for holding your husband's balls while he's sleeping?
I just want to love it and hug it and keep it forever. That's what the name is. It's my security. My security blanket.
It was funny. Well, to me, most things are funny. Almost immediately, everything's funny to me. But when it first happened, she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, don't apologize. I have no problem. Every woman should hold her man's dick while he's sleeping. I'm good with it. I have no problem whatsoever with this happening.
So fucked up.
Why?
I didn't even know I was doing it.
Kept him warm.
Oh, goodness.
What? But that was a weird thing for us.
That was...
We've had good. That wasn't nearly as bad as some of the other stuff that's been on this list, but it was a fun thing.
It was funny. It's still funny to this day because we talked about it like not too long ago, and he's like, "You stopped doing that." I'm like, "No, I didn't."
I just don't realize.
Just asleep.
I just don't realize it anymore.
So yeah, junk happens.
Junk happens. Yep, junk happens while you're sleeping sometimes.
All right, so what's the next one?
Next down the list is we created a rule for emergencies, and I need to tell the story that kind of went into it.
I didn't want to tell this story because I thought it was like not funny, but it was totally funny at the time.
It is funny. I get lightheaded sometimes when I stand up too fast. And one night we'd had sex. You had been laying on me, and I think that kind of contributed to it. So when I said I had to go to the bathroom, you got off, and I immediately stood up, and I stood up too fast, and that blood rush, I got dizzy, and in the process of trying to catch myself, I made it worse somehow, and just completely passed out. And I was
you were joking.
And because I'd kind of leaned forward to catch myself, when I passed out, I took a header straight into the bathroom door. So I said, "Baby, I got to go to the bathroom." And then I got up, and then I went down with a huge thud, followed by a thump on the floor. And Amy's response to this calamity was to laugh uncontrollably.
All I knew was you were going to the bathroom and then you fell.
Never asked if I was okay.
You
Never checked on me. Just immediate laughter. Just fell
You
out.
fell so hard.
Yes, I did. There is still a me-shaped dent in our bathroom door. I hit hard.
After I found out what actually happened, I was like, "Oh my God, I gotta call somebody."
And I was trying to explain that it just happens to me sometimes. I don't know, I just stand up too fast and go back down. Usually I don't pass out. Usually I get dizzy, take a knee, and gather it back up. But I don't know what happened that time. It just happened.
It was all sex.
Apparently. I was low on fluids. But it came at me fast, and I went down hard. But so as a result of that, we have a rule that if you have to call the ambulance, no matter what, if I am bleeding profusely from the head, you put pants on me before you call EMTs. Call 911 after I'm wearing pants.
You should be so proud. What?
But that's our rule. I don't want EMTs in our bedroom with me naked.
Okay.
Pants.
All right, well.
Pants before 911. Pants before 911.
Pants before 911. That's going to be, hey, that's a t-shirt.
Pants before 911.
All right, so what's the next one?
Next one is...
Oh.
The next one is this sound.
It did not sound like that.
It does.
No, it's a deeper sound than that.
Amy...
I don't know what happened.
Went through a period of time when her oh moment.
When I came, people, like when I orgasmed.
Right before it happened, her hip would pop. And it was awesome for me because it was like, yep, I'm there. Pink, got it.
Why the fuck did it happen?
I don't know, but it happened for weeks.
I know. It lasted a couple weeks and now it's gone. So you have no idea.
You know, we'd be in there, we'd be having a good time, and I just hear that pop, and I'm like, we got it. Lift off.
It wasn't the pop from that. It was the pop from my goddamn hip.
Yeah, it was your hip. It was just a weird thing. And it stopped.
Yeah, it stopped after like 2 weeks. I think it lasted for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it stopped. And now it doesn't do it anymore. I don't even know why it did it to start with.
Yeah, strangely, it lasted about as long as you hold my junk every night.
Oh my God.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Why does everything go on for 2 or 3 weeks?
I don't know. We go through phases in life, you know. It was, I don't know. And it wasn't even that my thigh was cramped or anything, or like I felt anything. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But during that moment, it would fucking pop.
I don't know. I was okay with it.
I wasn't.
It was.
I was not okay with it.
It was like somebody tapping you on the shoulder and going, "She's there. Go faster. She's there."
No, I was not okay with it. Oh, Lord.
It's like having a meter. It's like having some kind of reading meter. The red light comes on, you're good to go.
Well, I'm sorry my hip don't pop anymore for you.
I'm sorry you don't hold my junk while I'm sleeping.
I just did it like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I do it. It still happens.
So, we got one last thing on the list. It's not really a barrier.
You love it.
I love it. It's a thing that we found to help us overcome some of each other's annoyances.
And it was my idea. It was my idea.
Yes.
And
you
thought it was weird.
I am very smart, and Amy thinks that means I'm a know-it-all.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I probably am.
I'm not going to deny that.
I probably am.
It's very annoying sometimes.
But I'm not one of those know-it-all people that just has to say everything. I just know a bunch of shit. I'm not saying I'm right all the time. I'm not saying I'm right all the time. I just know a bunch of shit for some stupid reason. But I do.
Because you were a nerd growing up.
I was an incredible nerd growing up, yes.
You still are. You're still a nerd growing up.
Well, I look like a shiftless hobo, so. I did my know-it-all thing, and you thought I was wrong. You thought I was being a know-it-all, but the fact is I just know a bunch of shit. So she thought I was being a know-it-all. She thought I was wrong.
It was something stupid, too.
And we made a bet.
And I said, if you're wrong, it was about a TV show or something.
It was something about a TV show.
Something stupid.
It was some random piece of trivia about a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, and I said, all right, I'm not wrong on this one. If I'm right, I can't remember what it was, but if I'm wrong, I'll give you head for like a week. If I'm wrong, I'll give you head for a week.
Every night for a week. And
I was wrong. I was wrong.
And you kept your end of the bargain.
I did. You didn't think I was going to.
I really thought it was.
You thought it was going to be like a night or two.
And honestly, I'd have been happy with that.
Like, I mixed it up too. We did, like, it was a living room. I did the music. I did it. And it was a whole 7-day thing.
Really, after the second day, I was ready to let you off the hook, but you said nope. It was a bet.
I gave you my word.
So
we shook on it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, we shook on it.
And it's been a lot of fun since. We've backed off of it. We should get back to it. But,
yeah.
But betting, the annoying things about each other, making these bets to turn something that would piss us off normally.
Yeah, but
into
come
something
to find
that's
out,
fun.
I get angry and I get stressed, and that relieves some of my stress. Doing that to you, giving you a blowjob, it relieves my stress.
Yes.
I don't know how.
I don't know how, but I'm happy it does.
Yeah, so giving you head relieves my stress, so.
Relieves my stress too.
After all these years, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
I don't either. I don't know where you're going with this. I'm just following along. Hum a few more bars, maybe I'll pick it up. No, it was kind of an all about me week. And it was nice.
It was an all about you week, and de-stressed me somehow.
Yeah, I don't know what you get out of it, but you seem to get something out of it, and I liked it. I'm good with it.
I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah.
All right, so that is all. Well, it's not all of our barriers.
No, it's
I'm
not
sure
even close to all our barriers, but these are the kind of fun misadventure barriers.
all of them are fun.
They were.
They were things that we ended up laughing about.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure we're going to have more as the show continues. But this is, part 3 of 3, and these are the top barriers.
Yeah,
or
and
embarrassments.
it'll be an ongoing thing. We'll talk about them as they happen. So the next time the boy screams in the background, like he did last night, we'll hit it that week.
Yeah.
We don't have to make a list next time.
Well, after making our list, like, I lay in bed some nights, I'm like, I got to add to the list. And then I wake up the next morning, I can't remember what it is, but there's so many more.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, we're done with the barriers.
So to wrap it up, we wanted to talk about living with a man and living with a woman and kind of things we've had to deal with, and going from a bachelor to being part of a couple to being married. There's a transition, and there's things that you need to learn. There's lessons that you've got to understand in order to make it work no matter what. And that's kind of what we're doing. We have big issues, like nuclear issues. But the making it work comes down to being willing to accept it no matter what.
Oh, okay.
Just no matter what, unconditional. The past is the past.
But you still come home every day and talk about all the lights being on.
Yes. Well, there's things I'm just always going to be bitching about. To give the first example here of living together and things that we learned is holidays.
Ugh.
Preparing for holidays together has always been a struggle for us. I've got my way, she's got her way, and then the kids are in the middle, and it's a disaster sometimes.
Well, Halloween started it all. Like, I was fine.
Yeah, it was
until Halloween.
It was one of our early Halloweens. We didn't even have our son yet, so it was early. And I said, when I left that morning, be ready when I walk in the door.
Yeah, but I had sewing to do, Velcro and shit. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, I got it.
So I got home, walked in the door, and our oldest had maybe a third of her costume done. The youngest had her dress, but none of the other stuff done. You were frantically buttoning
angry
and
in the bathroom. And we live in the country, so we actually have to go to a community. Like,
to trick or treat.
And not to mention, we have to stop by the parents.
Yes, the grandparents' house.
The grandparents
have to see the babies.
Yeah.
So, I said be ready when I leave, which would have been at 5 o'clock. So we hit both sets of grandparents. And then we were trick-or-treating by 6 to 6:30.
Yeah.
Which is good. Except nobody was ready at 5 when they should have been. It was 7.
No, it wasn't that late.
But it was after 6.
It was after 6. I think we left at 6.
Yeah, we were
supposed to leave at 5. We ended up leaving at like 5:45 or 6.
Yeah, so we didn't get wheels up moving until after 6. And then the grandparents wanted to take
super long that night.
The grandparents wanted to take 100 pictures and come do this, and hey, I found more candy, and
I was so stressed.
So we should have been trick or treating at 6:30. Ended up not arriving where we were going to trick or treat until like 8. At any rate, the thing that we learned from this Halloween, Amy builds holidays up in her head.
I do.
Everything is perfect, or it's all a disaster.
It is.
And so we are an hour and a half late leaving, and she is screaming like a...
missing half of the costume.
But she's like head out the window screaming, throwing the finger. She's screaming at the other drivers, "You're ruining my kids' Halloween." Like, how is it their fault we were an hour and a half late?
They were fucking everything up.
We fucked everything up.
If they didn't fuck up our Halloween, they would have fucked up somebody else's that left on time.
But it's the same thing with every holiday with Amy. It's
Oh my
it's perfect.
goodness.
It's perfect, or throw it in the trash. If it's not perfect, screw the whole thing. I'm going back to bed.
I don't ever go back to bed, first of all.
I mean, it's like, the stuffing doesn't turn out exactly right. She's ready to throw the whole turkey in the trash.
Can't talk about my cooking. My stuffing always turns out good.
But that's an example of, like, if it's not perfect, just throw the whole thing away.
Well, I think it's about the stove, like, Christmas Eve. We host on Christmas Eve, and the stove stopped working this past Christmas Eve, but that's not the first Christmas Eve I've freaked out.
Well, the day of our wedding, you were freaking out so bad that I lost it at one point. I was like, it's my fucking wedding, too.
Yeah, the whole time, I was not a bridezilla. I was cool with everything. And
it wasn't a bridezilla thing. You were just ragging on me so bad that I was just
like, you're like, it's not just your day, it's my fucking day too. And then I realized, like, okay, I gotta calm down. Because we had it in our yard and everything, and I was like, oh my God, this and this and this and this, and like, it was a lot.
And so for me, holidays, I'm like the Zen master. Like, I have to walk around all day on holidays going, it's going to be okay. We're going to make it work. It'll all be beautiful. It'll all be fine.
And it always
Everybody's going to have fun. I'm like rubbing pressure points and like burning sage. Like,
I do that, so don't even.
Gonna rake the sand in the Zen garden.
No, my daddy, every Christmas Eve, he texts me and he's like, don't stress out today. It's fine.
Everybody knows you do this.
And that's why I can't, like,
everybody knows you do this.
Everybody knows it, but I still
and you still do it.
But my daddy is the first person to message me on Christmas Eve morning. It's fine. Everything is fine, Amy. Don't stress out. We'll be there at whatever, such and such time or whatever. Like, don't stress out.
He does that for my benefit, I think.
He did it way before you, Jayce. That's just my daddy.
So, besides our holidays, where I've learned to be Zen master, what else have you learned about living with me? You've lived with more men than just me before.
Well, thank you.
No, I mean, you were married before.
Yeah,
me.
I was married before.
We've already talked about that.
Okay, so I've learned that Jayce overdoes everything. Like, if I need something built, it's dramatically overbuilt. Like, I needed a little shelf in the bathroom for some product because what I had in there was not enough. So I was like, okay, Jayce, I need a shelf for some of my product. Like, I need like 3 shelves. Can you just whip that up real quick? Because that's what you do, right? I just thought you could whip it up.
And I probably could have, but instead I used the router and put bullnose fronts on the shelves.
Yeah, and you ended up giving me like a 10 shelf thing, and it's still not enough.
Yeah, I notched all the boards so that they fit together.
What the fuck is taking him so long? I'm trying to organize my stuff, and then you came in with this, and I'm like, oh, okay. And now I need another one.
Well, and what I ended up building holds like 60 bottles of perfume.
Yeah, it's not enough. So you just go overboard with everything. Like, if I just need a simple task done, you go overboard with it.
So we're about at our time limit, it looks like.
Yeah.
We've done 3 episodes on all of this craziness.
Yeah.
So, final words of wisdom, any way you want to wrap this up, now is the time.
I want to hear everybody else's stories.
That's the thing, is we're starting to pick up followers.
Yeah, we're
slowly...
We're getting followers. We want to hear from you guys. Like, give us some input. Do you like the show? Do you have a barrier in your relationship that you've gone through, like, we want to hear about it. Maybe call in.
Just some kind of feedback. What do you mean call? We don't have a call-in line.
Not yet. If we get enough listeners, we will.
Yeah, if we get listeners, if we get a listener base,
Yeah.
then I'll be happy to get us a call-in
We're
line.
gonna do a totally live podcast at some point if we get enough listeners. So you can call in, you can talk to us, ask us questions, give your, relationship barrier. We would love to talk to you.
Okay, but to wrap up this episode, any last thoughts that you want to share? Mine would be, everybody's got their own disasters. I'm sure everybody out there's got a list of some weird shit, just like that we talked about, barfing on the dick and
seriously, you got to bring that up again?
And plugging up your in-laws' toilet. I'm sure everybody's got their own humiliating list of stories. But the thing that you got to keep in order to get through this stuff is a sense of humor.
Yeah. We laugh about everything that has happened, and
you've got to remember to laugh about it.
Disasters are still going to happen. They're still going to happen, and we're not going to laugh at the moment, but,
a lot of times I laugh at the moment.
Well, yeah, and I get pissed off.
You do not. You do not think it's funny.
So, but, once down the road, I do laugh, so. Don't take everything so seriously. Life is short, and take it with a grain of salt and find the humor in everything. And if you're embarrassed in your relationship, just remember that there's always some girl out there that barfed on somebody's dick, and there's always some girl out there that's still sleeping in a guy's pit. So don't be embarrassed, girls.
It can always get worse.
It can always be worse.
Careful what you wish for.
Oh my God.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Baby, tell them where to find us.
You can find us on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, and iTunes at Committed to Crazy. Or you can find us on Twitter and Snapchat at Jayce and Amy. Or you can find all of our social media links at committedtocrazy.com.
So, Amy, what are this week's takeaways?
No matter how weird you think you are in your relationship, it can always be worse.
Amy will laugh while I'm knocked out, but she'll put pants on me before calling 911.
And junk happens while you're sleeping. Thanks for listening, everyone.